Hello, amazing souls. I'm so excited to be here with you. Let me just get our set up. Where are we at? Yes. I'm so excited to be here. Happy Friday. I wonder if Lily is going to be able to find us all the way in Nigeria. So I know that she was here the one day and I was floored. She looks like she's having such a great time. You guys, so Lily is part of this group. Just like many of you. And we like to celebrate. We like to celebrate the women in this group, celebrate each other, lift each other up. Let me know. I want to know. Kay wants to know, what are you guys working on, accomplishing? Like, what is your big mission? What's your vision? Like, we want celebrations. So as you come on here, that is what I want you to do. I know that it takes a little while for you guys to come. So just go ahead. I'm just gonna sit here for a moment, let you guys roll in, right? Hopefully Kay has found me. Kay can find you guys. And if you're actually watching this on YouTube, you can find me. But yes, as you come on, I want to hear some celebrations. What are you celebrating this week? That, my friends, is helpful to your professional growth and success. That is a huge part of how you succeed, standing in that higher vibration, standing against all odds, thinking that you're not doing anything when in reality, you're making such like leaps into your professional life, into your mission, into your big life purpose. So I know that I have been getting a lot of feedback on this topic specifically, of just people really wanting to know, like, what does this look like? What do I need to succeed? We have so many trailblazers in here. We have so many amazing professional women who are writing books, who are changing laws, who are running for seats in the government, in politics. We have so many people who are research scientists who want to change the face of, the artificial intelligence. We have people in here in this group who are, moving into entrepreneurship and creating businesses and empires, right? We have women who are changing the face of their corporations, what it looks like being led by a female with beautiful ideas of connection and community and support. And that is what we do, ladies. That is what we do. That is how we lead. That is how we unite. And that is how we succeed, right? And that's not even I don't think that's in the pillars. I wrote a blog article about the power of creating your community, and it is so imperative to our growth. It's definitely not on the pillars, but it's part of it. It's part of the process. It's a huge part of the process of who you're surrounded by. I was listening to Rachel Rogers, I can't remember, a couple weeks ago, and she pulled out this statistic. I haven't double checked it, but she said that like 95% of our success is the people who we surround ourselves with, right? So these are looking at different areas of just like what makes people successful. And because on the one hand, we talk about 80% is mindset, 20% is action, right? Our success is, the majority of it is our mindset. And that is, as a women's empowerment coach, that is what I work on, is really, I'm a licensed therapist as well. So we really dig into what are these mindsets? What are the beliefs that are keeping you stuck? And how do we remove those blocks so that you can really expand into your greatest potential, your highest vision? Who is with me? Who is excited? So celebrate, surround yourself with beautiful women, just like the women that are in this group. And let me know, let us know what you're working on, what you have accomplished. I have, we've promoted books in here. We have promoted other people's podcasts and coaching programs. And I mean, just because we want to collaborate and we want to lift each other up. So that is the way that we are going to go further, right, is together. And, in my blog article, that's in there too. That's what inspired me, right? I was looking around, and when we reflect on our own lives of just, how far we've come and what has helped us to get here, that is a huge part of my story. That is a huge part of my story, is that community and connection. So make sure you guys are connecting with each other. Make sure you're connecting with Kay and I. You will see us reaching out to you. And if you're on a different platform, put it in the comments, just like, I am inspired, I want to connect with you. We check that stuff too. So, this is not the only space that you will see me. So anyways, I think hopefully people can find us here, because I just got a text. Sandra was saying, DM that Sandra was saying that she couldn't find us. So hopefully, hey, Catherine. Oh my gosh, it's so good to see you. So good to see you. So I'm so excited for everybody to be here. And again, Catherine, I want to hear one of your successes. One thing, a celebration from this week that you have. Put it in the comments. So hopefully, people will find us. They'll be rolling in. I know there's a lot of interest in this. So when we look at professional success, right? I already told you, right? This is important for you to celebrate. It is important for us all to celebrate, because what happens as women specifically is that we just brush our successes under the carpet. We often put them onto other people, like, oh, well, it was a team effort. Yes, that might be true. And who is leading that team? Many times it's us. So, right, we give recognition to the things that we do. And that in itself, ladies, goes against the grain. It goes against what we've been taught most of the time as females, is that we should just be humble. We should be grateful. We should, it is arrogant to celebrate our successes. So that is what we're doing here. When I give you these prompts, when I give these actions to do, it's going against the grain of what we've been taught, because the grain has to be gone against. Right? We are changing our mindsets. We are changing the trajectory of our future into where we are, into where we want to be, where our life is inspired. So excited. So let's dive in. Let's dive into, what does success look like, feel like, mean? What does that even mean to you? When we talk about professional success, we have, and for those of you who have been with me for a while, you know about the conditioned self and the authentic self, right? When we look at professional success, a lot of times we are coming from the mindset and the view of our conditioned self. What society has told us is success, what our family has told us or shown us is success, right? And I think about my family. My family is filled with women, very successful, very driven women who owned, my great grandmother started so many businesses. She came straight from Poland and made it. And she really, just talk about an amazing woman, but she was highly determined. So what did I learn? And then my grandmother took over the store, right? And looking at my mother, carving in her own way, working, all the women in my life worked really, really hard. And success was all academic. You had to do it a certain way. You stayed within a job, you worked really hard, and, you just give, you're a constant giver. And again, there are values within that I love, right? I really love the work ethic that my family gave to me, but what that turned into for me was not thinking that I could, which is crazy because I think about my great grandmother and starting businesses, but I didn't believe that I was supposed to start a business. I thought I was supposed to. Success to me was climbing the corporate ladder and making changes that way, and making good money and enough to go on vacations with my family and all of these things. So the first pillar of looking at professional success is to know thyself. Truly, truly know yourself. Cultivate that awareness, that internal awareness of who you truly are at the core of you, right? So many times we build from the conditioned self. So we just keep on doing, we think we're making it. I thought that I was like, yeah, finally, I made it. I climbed the corporate ladder. I'm an executive. I'm all this stuff. And I was still unhappy, right? And for some people that is success. So that's what I'm saying is find your own. own. I only thought that way because that is what was taught to me, is that, this is the direction that you're supposed to go in. But the whole time I was feeling unfulfilled. So that's when we know there's some dissonance between where we are, what we think, oh, I'm finally successful. I have this stable job. I have these great benefits, and my healthcare is paid for, and all the things that are really important to my family. So being able to recognize that I was building from there, the conditions from there. My success this week is actually planning a trip to visit family. Yes, you've been putting off taking time from work. Yes. That is such a huge success. That is so important. So important. I love that, Catherine. So excited. So yeah, success looks for, our progress, our success, it looks different for each person. So funny that you mentioned that, because as highly determined, driven women, we do, right? We're like, oh, I can't take off of work. I can't do this. I can't do that. And by trusting in yourself to be like, okay, I want to take a break, and I know that it's going to be fine. It's what needs to happen. So taking a break is success, right? I actually have to schedule in I am taking a vacation each quarter. Like, that is what I'm doing. I have to schedule it in, and that is success, right? That is a fulfilling life for me. But when we look at professional success, when we look at where we want to be professionally, it has to come from an authentic place, or you're going to get caught up in like this cycle of unfulfillment, of frustration, of scarcity, right? Scarcity mindset, of lack. And that's all from our conditioned self. And being able to see, what has that done for me? Building from the conditioned self, what does that do for me? I might get external validation, but my internal validation is dwindling. My internal, happiness, or I want to say pride in myself, right? Because I'm aligning with my values, that's dwindling because I'm not actually speaking from my truth. I'm speaking from everybody else's truth. I'm letting everybody else run the show. So how do we identify that authentic part of us, right? How do we identify what's conditioned and what's authentic? Because that's true. It can get really gray. It can get really muddy when we try figuring it out. So looking at, taking a look at some of your values, right? Actually, let me back up I do want to go with values. So looking at your values, there is this values in action. It's an assessment. It's a free assessment. I love it because it's free and it gives you some guidance. It gives you some awareness of like what are top, and it gives you a printout of like what are your top, what are your middle, and what are your lower values, And this gives us, when we start diving into our values, we're diving into our values with this curiosity, right? If we want to have that self-awareness, we are staying open to some of my values might still align with my family's or society's or something. Some of them might not. But what we want to do is make sure that we're coming at our professional success, at building a career, a life from our true authentic self. So when we look at our values, then that gives us the opportunity to also, and this is so multi-layered, ladies, so I have the 3 pillars, but there's so much that goes underneath it. I'm not going to have time to hit on every single one of them. These are the things that we talk about and we hit on and we take deep dives in the Next Level Life Purpose Coaching Program. And that's a year-long program. I mean, so I'm trying to give you information. So just to let you know, it's, there are so many different levels and layers. But I want to at least give you the information of the top, right? This overarching theme. So self-awareness, knowing thyself, right? Cultivating that self-awareness, looking at your values and really seeing how, okay, it says that I value this, and I can put the link for the values in action, that assessment. I'll put it in the comments later. So being able to recognize that, when we look at these values, it's how am I aligning with these values then? Are my behaviors matching these values? Ladies, put it in the comments. What are some of the values that you can think of off the top of your head? Right? I know for me, like empowerment for myself, empowerment for other women, empowerment for men too, like the world. I just want everyone to feel empowered and knowing that they make a choice. They're not a victim of circumstance. That is a huge value for me, huge value. And how do I align with that every day? Right? So put some of your values in the comments. And I do this to just shine light on it, right? Having the comments in there, it has you sort of write down and you're looking at it, right? It's that different. It's not just listening to me teach, you're doing something to really reflect on what it is I'm talking about, because this is not the first time you guys have heard this, right? Recognizing that self-awareness, coming from a very authentic place and knowing your values. Brene Brown talks about it, right? Her Dare to Lead and like so many of her, she has lists and lists of different values. But I know for me, it was just really helpful to have an assessment because I can look at all of these values and be like, I don't know, they're all super important to me. So how do I choose one? But when you're looking at those too, what's super interesting is that, or what I encourage you to do is to look at it with that curiosity of like, is this truly what I value, or is this what I think I should value, right? I should value. And when the should comes in, that's usually an indicator that it's from a conditioned part, that it's from, something that isn't truly yours, that you've just sort of, you've accepted because you probably learned it really young and you just continue to accept it. So really looking at clarifying the values, enhancing that self-awareness. Our values guide our decision. Our values, again, it's like, am I aligning with this? Am I aligning with, being empowered or, feeling empowered or, empowering other people? And here's the cool thing. Okay. Side note, when we align with our values, when we know our values and we align with them, it actually reduces stress. So it's like a byproduct, right? Who wants to like reduce stress? Put a yes in the comments, me please. So being able to really recognize what your values are, then that gives you the opportunity to continuously align with them and to continuously I just lost my thought. So continuously align with them. Oh, and to speak them, right? The challenge then is to stand in that truth, right? Especially when it goes against the grain, when it goes against like what the majority rules in your family or in your workplace or, anything like that. I had I have a deep value for compassion, very, very deep value for love and compassion. And that is the world that I want to create by empowering women, is to be able to live in a world with compassion and understanding, because we truly are. We are, there's so much about, I can talk about the divine feminine, and I mean, there's a place for the masculine, but feminine leads from compassion, from connection, from collaboration, from so many deeper places. So, and the masculine helps us get there, right? Because it's very task oriented. But anyways, being able to look at compassion is a huge thing for me. And some of the people that I noticed like are very close to me actually, and have been friends of mine for a very, very long time, don't have that same belief. And it was very interesting and it felt really good to actually stand in it. So, I have some people that are in law enforcement that are close to me, and they see things that I don't see. So I get that. I get it. And I get that they're guarded and they're on survival mode and stuff like that. But when they talk to me and they're like, oh, it's this person or that person, or like, you can't trust anybody. And I'm like, that's not true. Like, that's just not true. And I started speaking up more and more and more, and not in like this naive way, but just, this is not the way that we have to live. We don't have to live in a place where we're cutting each other down. Because they asked, they're like, is she, are you nice? I'm like, I think so. I'm pretty sure. So anyways, it's that awareness of standing standing in your truth when not a lot of people around you are, have that same value, and just being okay with that. And each time you do that, talk about professional strength. Each time you do that, you're standing up for yourself. So you're more confident, you speak your mind more. And that's another thing to celebrate, right? We can celebrate that confidence and, oh my gosh, it feels so good. And that's why it leads to less stress, right? And overall well-being, like your mental well-being is so much better when you are just speaking your truth and standing in your values. So the first pillar of professional success is that self-awareness, cultivating the self-awareness, which not ironically, but like also coincides with authentic leadership, is the self-awareness, right? So did I see anybody? You guys are not putting in. What do you value? This is a time to like stand in your values. Come on, ladies. Let's unite here. Let's explore here. So part of self-awareness is the values. Another part of that self-awareness is knowing your strengths and your weaknesses. Okay. This is, oh gosh, can I find it? Hold on one second. I think I can. So Gay Hendricks, he wrote The Big Leap. He wrote Genius Zone. So knowing our strengths and our weaknesses, I just want to show you if I have it. I have a lot of learning material, so I'm hoping that I can find it pretty quickly. Or not. Yes, I can. Okay. So looking at this, right? So Gay Hendricks talks about like the zone of incompetence, the zone of competence, the zone of excellence. Ladies, we get stuck here a lot. Just FYI, we get stuck here most of the time. We're really good at something. We get accolades, we get promotions, we get all this stuff, and we just get stuck here, but it's not fulfilling. It's not 100% fulfilling. It might be for a little bit, but then we find ourselves restless, unfulfilled, frustrated, stuff like that, because we're not working in our zone of genius, which is like where spirit aligns, where our skills align, where we're like super passionate about it and stuff like that. So I bring this up, to identify where our strengths and our weaknesses are, right? That's the zone of incompetence, obviously, is where our weaknesses are. So being able to recognize that, I want to identify, I'm giving you a couple different, what do I want to say, plugs or like resources, a couple different resources. So Marcus Buckingham, saw him speak one time, amazing, at this Live to Lead conference. He was there with like Rachel Hollis. Who else was there? Oh my gosh, I have his books. Who was it? John Maxwell. John Maxwell was putting it on. So anyways, the Strengths Finder, that's the Gallup-Clifton Strengths Test. Take that. If you're like, I'm not really sure what my strengths are, what my weaknesses are, very, very thorough. Again, I'll put these in the link after we're done so that you guys can have those resources. This is such a powerful resource. And Marcus Buckingham is just amazing because he hit it he hit the nail on the head. Hey, Laura, welcome. Hey, Pallavi, hello. Oh, it's so good to see you. Uniqueness. Yes, Catherine, love it. I love that. So that is one of your values. So again, putting your values in the comments, and identifying, just, exploring to yourself, how often am I aligning with this? How often am I celebrating my uniqueness, right? And I'm using that example. So let's say I value life and self-care. It helps us show up in the world. Yes, great at helping people, lack the no boundaries. Yes, yes, yes. Oh, Laura, I have been there. Yes, you are not alone. We are givers. So beautiful. How often are you aligning with your life and your self-care and living life, right? So compassion. Yes, Pallavi. So beautiful, wonderful awareness of your values. And again, just ask yourself, how often am I aligning with these? So I would encourage you to do that every day. I have a list of characteristics, values that I have. I have my top 5 right here. I have my characteristics, and I'm like, how often am I aligning with this? But we have to know ourselves first, right? So being able to, going back to sorry, I jump around. Whenever I see like the feed, I like to comment on that and then come back. So when we look at, Marcus Buckingham and the work that he did in the Strengths Finder, gosh, I just love him so much. He really talks about how we have it all wrong, right? How we've had it wrong for so long. Society has had it wrong. Corporations have had it wrong, because what we do, and I know as an executive, this is something that I was advised to do as well, is looking at, when we look at like reviews, annual reviews, or, quarterly reviews or anything like that. Yeah, there's some strengths in there, but what do people focus on? Put it in the comments. What do people focus on in your like annual reviews or your 6-month reviews or quarterly reviews? And it's so funny because, as I was at spin class today, apparently he got a review, and he was saying, oh yeah, somebody told me that I was too aggressive. And I loved how he responded to it, because he is so motivational. I love his classes. He's just so awesome. And he was like, he swears, and that's, I am a swearer. If you guys haven't seen me do that, like, so it's just like, he just motivates, and he plays such motivational, inspirational music and stuff like that. So anyways, he was like, yeah, so apparently I'm too aggressive. And he then turned it to, so that's like, you're telling me that's a good thing, right? He's not aggressive in like a harmful way. He wants us to be at our best, and he pushes us. So anyways, that's that shift in perspective. Like, that's a strength, right? But anyways, looking at like, what do people usually look at, right? He identified a weakness, right? Or what other people saw as a weakness is, well, you're just too aggressive or too, and I hear this a lot with highly determined women, right? It's when we go at something, it's very interesting that he was told that he was too aggressive, because usually that's seen as, well, he's just a go-getter. And then with females, when we're direct, when we're a go-getter, we're too aggressive, right? So very interesting in that aspect. But when we look at the strengths, so in corporate and everything, it's like, oh yeah, you have these strengths, but let's look at these weaknesses, and how can we enhance your weaknesses, and how can we get better in these areas? That is totally the wrong way to look at it. Okay. Completely the wrong way. So weaknesses, it's important to identify them and to manage them some, right? To manage them some, to be able to say, you know what, this is a weakness. I know maybe I'm not, too consistent. I don't know. I'm just thinking of different things. Consistent in I'll just go with workouts. I'm not as consistent in my workouts or something, right? And I want to be more consistent. So how do I focus in on my strengths, right? And be able to, I value open communication. Hey, Sandra, I'm so glad that you found us. So being aware of that, being aware of our strengths and our weaknesses, being aware of our weaknesses, but that I don't want you to focus. No, that's the part of the professionalism, the professional success that you want to be aware of them. You don't want to be aloof. You don't want to be naive to them, right? You want to know them so that you know to continuously work in your genius zone, that like, nope, that's not me. That is definitely not my jam. So whose is it, right? Who can help with this? Like, I am telling you, I am not good at scheduling, like thinking, like the details of everything, right? There are emails that have to go out. There's all these different events that I'm going to, that I'm putting on, that I'm hosting. And I was just like, I can't keep up. Like, this is not my realm of this is a weakness, right? So I delegate and I hire someone like Megan. She's been with me forever. And I'm just like, this is what I want to happen. I want to know when I'm supposed to send these emails out. I want the marketing, like everything to just, flow. Can you create this? And that is her strength, right? That is her strength. That is not my strength. So in being aware of my weaknesses and aware of our weaknesses, we can delegate appropriately. We can make sure that we're on the right track of staying within our genius zone, staying within this area of our strengths, right? So being able to, strengths are built upon our development and growth areas, right? This is where we want to develop. This is where we want to grow. We only want to be aware of our weaknesses, manage them so that we're not mucking stuff up and we're delegating appropriately. Okay. So all of that is, I mean, and there's even more under self-awareness, you guys. Like I said, there's so many layers. So what are your strengths, right? So you value, what are your strengths? I want put it in the comment. What are one of your strengths? Hey, Laura, let's see. I'm a highly competitive person, and sometimes I forget that most people are not. Yes. Yes. Mental notes and physical reminders keep me aware. Growing out of comfort zone and growth is a learning process. It totally is, Laura. It is a process that we are continuously aligning with. And yeah, it's so important to be aware of that. Because we forget, like, not everybody thinks like me. And it's funny that hey, Cheryl, welcome. It's funny that you identify that, because it's, Megan's like, well, did you do this, this, and this? I'm like, oh, you didn't read my mind. Like, you know what I mean? It's so people think differently, and that's wonderful and beautiful, but we're not aware of that. Like, to be aware of what we bring to the table and what others can bring to the table and stuff like that. That's when we can really create magic, right? That's when we really collaborate. That's when we really connect. And that's all part of professional success too. Right. I wrote a blog about that, and I think I mentioned it in the beginning. I can put that in the comments too. The link to the blog that I wrote this week was all about community, and how behind every successful woman is a bunch of other successful women cheering her on, supporting her, and challenging her to be her best self. Right. So yeah, being able to be self-aware so we really talked about clarifying your values. We talked about underneath that is, looking at being aware of your strengths and your weaknesses and stuff like that. And just being open, right? Being open to part of self-awareness too, is truly being open to feedback from others, right? When you're looking at, sometimes you seek it, sometimes you don't. It's never really a good thing when it's just like someone gives it to you and you're like, I didn't ask for that, right? And you can hear that, like, I know for me anyways, I feel that like response coming of like, I didn't even ask you, like, I didn't ask you for any feedback. And right, when I recognize that gives me the internal inclination to say, hold on a second, let me just get curious about this, right? Is this accurate? Am I, because people can see things that I can't. It's so important to have that, and to have that with people that you trust, right? So that's part of that self-awareness too, is that you can have, like, I have within my Next Level Life Purpose coaching program, that is what we do for each other. When somebody can't see themselves clearly, we help them to see themselves clearly, right? When they're stuck in this conditioned self, this scarcity mindset, this, I can't do this, it's too hard. We look at them with love and compassion and say, you're totally in your conditioned self. That's not an accurate view of what is happening here, right? Or it is an accurate view. You're not aligning with your values, right? So what is what's the holdup? What's that block for you, right? So that feedback from people that you trust, like-minded women, like, that is so important to get that feedback from the women who understand you, from women who are like-minded, who are all about growth mindset too, and are open to that feedback as well. So just being aware of that helps with that self-reflection as well, right? They're seeing something that I'm not aligning. I remember when my husband, like, one of my values is truly about flow and just like joy, and bringing joy into work and joy into the things that I'm doing. And he's like, you are not aligned with that. He's like, you are running ragged. You look stressed out. You look tired, and you're working too much. And I would be like, no, you don't understand, right? And then I was like, hold on a second. Like, so internally, I'm like, you don't understand. This is so important. And da, 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 da. So taking that pause to just be like, ooh, yeah, I'm not aligned with my values, right? So feedback is really cool. It's really important. It's an opportunity for growth. So that's the first pillar. We only got to the first pillar. Hey, Christy, so excited. Christy Marie with us. Check out her book. I posted it in the group. Super exciting. So mission driven is the second pillar of professional success. So we have know thyself, right? That cultivating that self-awareness is the first pillar of professional success. Mission driven is the second pillar of professional success. Being able to recognize, so this is about bringing it into the present and recognizing what you want, what you project into the future. How do you want your legacy to be? Like, what do you want your legacy to be? What's important to you? This is going to be your North Star. This is going to be what drives you. And we will talk about some of that in the next one. But like, what keeps you going when shit hits the fan, really? No better way to put it, right? Is when things get hard, you go to your mission to say, this is why I'm doing this. This is important. Not to mention, right? So there's that capacity of it, to know your mission in life, to know. So some of the things to ask yourself, like when you're looking at your mission, what matters to you in your life, it's like, what are you fighting for? Like, who are you fighting for? I remember starting my business and being able to dive into my mission statement of like, I am fighting for living my most authentic life. I am fighting for living all the lives unlived, because I see generations past that didn't live to their fullest potential or capabilities or align with their life purpose. And they got stuck in addiction. They got stuck in that conditioned self. They got stuck in the heaviness. They got stuck in the blame and the frustration and the anger, resentments, all of it. And I did not want to live that way, nor do I want to live in a world that is filled with that, right? So that's what I'm fighting for me. I'm also fighting for that for my kids and for generations to come, right? To know a different world, to know a world that is filled with like endless possibilities, that you can live to your fullest capabilities, and you don't let anybody tell you what those are. You know them. You know where you're supposed to go. In your soul, you do, right? Are you fighting? Are you doing it for you? Are you doing it for your kids? Are you doing it to better the world? What world do you want to live in? This is your purpose. Your mission is your purpose in life. If it's to bring more joy to the world through different areas. I was thinking about Catherine. I don't know if you're still on here, but like, I know for you, the joy, and it's been a minute since we've talked, so I'm not sure where this is, but like, the joy of bringing people together in, in an event, or just, hanging out and having a good time surrounded by friends and bringing joy. Like, that's what I remember the last time we talked, that is the joy that you want to bring. And that is in your genius zone because you love doing it, right? This is what I'm talking about with the mission. What kind of world do you want to live in, right? Write it down. Your mission will keep you fighting. Like I said, it'll keep you fighting when things are hard, when you're like, I don't know if I'm going to make it. I don't know if I have it in me. Shoe Dog. This is okay. So another book. I'm throwing like so many references at you. Do you guys know your mission? Put a yes in the comments. I'm not sure, right? I'm searching. Not sure. Put it in the comments. Just let me know. And just don't worry. This is no shame. It's just about knowing where you're at. I didn't know my mission. I knew generally, right? I'm just like, I'm not supposed to be here. Like, I'm not supposed to be working for corporate. I'm really good at it. It was my, again, it was my zone of excellence. It was not my genius zone. I was really good at creating programs for other people, but I knew that there was something more. So I searched and luckily I found a great mentor, great coaching program that I'm still in, and that lift each other up, and help each other, remind each other of like, what is your mission every single day. So when you look at this, right, because it's so imperative, right? Write it down. When you find your mission, and if you have any questions about finding your mission, again, the next level life purpose coaching program, that is what we do. We do that. We solidify that. We nail it down within like the first month. And again, you're still sort of finding out who your conditioned self and your authentic self is. So it's going to expand the more you know yourself. So that goes back up to that number one professional, pillar, or, number one pillar for professional success is knowing yourself. So it's going to shift and change and expand. But write it down when you have it. If you know it, write it down, post it somewhere, read it every day, carry it with you, look at it every single day, because what this is going to do is to keep you, when you're faced with opportunities of growth, or as some people identify them in their conditioned self, it could be obstacles, right? It could be the world is against me, the universe is against me. This is how it shows up in the conditioned self. When we're in our authentic self, we're like, holy crap, what an opportunity for growth and expansion. I wonder what I'm going to learn from this, right? Your mission will lead you forward. And sorry, I got off with Snow Dog, right? This is a book from Phil. I can't think of his last name right now, but he is the owner of Nike. And he talks about having that fear of just like, I don't know if I'm going to make it. How am I going to pay these people? How am I going to pay? And beautiful, beautiful book, right? Accomplished. Yes. Let's see. I've written goals down since I was young, accomplished all of them, then created a vision board 3 years ago, accomplished most. Pandemic changed. Yes, yes, yes. And keep on. I encourage people to do a vision board, write down their goal. Your goals can shift. I would say every 6 months. Sometimes we're in this this time of like rapid growth and transformation that it could be every 3 months. Shoot, I had goals from earlier this year that I've accomplished already. So being able to look at your mission. So Shoe Dog, sorry, again, squirrel, look down at the comments. So being able to recognize, Phil Knight, I think is his name. And he just talks about like, I'm not sure I'm going to make it, but his mission, his drive, right? His mission was so important to him that it kept him going and it kept that belief going. And so many other, successful people have identified the same thing. It's in this book of the Having, she talks about so many business owners that she works with, Sun Yun Lee, she works with, that again, she talks about the importance of recognizing what you do have in order to move you forward. That's a whole nother story though. But being able to identify your mission is a huge part of what provides you with that professional success. Why are you doing the things that you do? Do you see how these all build on each other, right? So then the third, we're doing all right, guys. So the third pillar of professional success is being disciplined. Right? So we have that self-awareness. This is part of actually authentic leadership too, is mission, disciplined, right? When we think about being a leader, and these so intertwined. So when you think about Lord, my mission is to flip the script on my perspectives for today and bridge limited generations, oh my gosh, into a freedom-focused future. I love that, Laura. Absolutely. Right. And you put that at the forefront, right? So what you guys are writing down here for your mission, I hope that you have that written everywhere, that you take it everywhere, that you remember, because as we remember our mission, we can see if we're aligning with that mission. We can see if our behaviors are aligning with that mission, the thought patterns, right? The thinking, the belief systems, are they aligning with our big vision? Are they aligning with our values? The thoughts, again, 80% of our success is mindset, and that's all up here. Okay. So, and that drives the other 20%, which is action. So remembering that mission, remembering it, putting it in the forefront, knowing that it's possible, and driving towards that every single day. And that's where the discipline comes in, right? So there's this, I'm sure it didn't come from him, but again, that instructor that I absolutely love, he always says, we don't wait because I take a 5 a.m. It's between 5 a.m. and 5:15 a.m. Cycle class. And he was just like, we don't wait for the day to start, we attack the day. Right. And I'm sure he got that from another inspirational, but that is what I think of is, we don't just wait for things to happen. We create things, and it takes discipline to do that, right? It really allows us, we stay focused. When we have our mission, we stay focused. It's focus, focus, focus. And well, I'll get into that in a minute. So we stay focused on it because it means so much to us. We don't allow failures to keep us back. We allow our failures to move us forward, right? And that's that discipline. And that's what, again, when I think about Phil Knight, what he was talking about in Shoe Dog, where he allowed every single failure he learned from failure, right? We all worry about failure. We talk about, there's a blog article that I wrote, I think last month about women failing forward. We look towards that, and that's that discipline, right? That's the discipline and mindset. I mean, think about, again, these are all multi-layered and they're all intertwined, because when we think about our mindset, we can change our look on failure, and we can change our discipline around that. Because when we think about failure, when we think about, oh my gosh, I totally flopped or did something, right? I allow myself to fall back. I can allow myself to fall back. That's not being disciplined though. That is actually more of my conditioned self. That's not coming from my authentic self. My authentic self, my spirit, wants me to succeed, wants me to keep moving forward into my big vision, into this bigger perspective, my highest purpose, and reaching my highest possibilities. So being able to be disciplined in this context it refers to training yourself to behave and work in a controlled, regular way, or essentially building healthy habits, right? And all of these have to align with that mission, because they're not going to stick if we don't. So when we think about this, right? When we think about we are behaving. Discipline is behavior. It's, when I wake up, I don't always love waking up at 4:30 in the morning to go to this class. What I do love is the inspiration it gives me, the motivation, or I don't want to say motivation, the inspiration it gives me, the feeling it gives me of accomplishment, of knowing that I actually kept my commitment to myself. So we can look at that discipline of keeping commitments to ourselves, which falls into self-love, right? The more we show up for ourselves, the more disciplined we are in showing up for ourselves, the more self-love we are showing to ourselves. And the more we are saying, girl, you deserve this. You are worth it. Let's fucking go and let's rock this shit, right? So, sorry for those of you who don't know that I do swear, but this is the excitement of just I want to be disciplined because that means I'm moving closer to my best self, right? So for a second there, I almost said motivation. Now I want to take this time, because we're talking about being disciplined, right? That's the third pillar of professional success. Keep moving forward, even in the face of fear. You keep moving forward, even in the face of failure. You keep moving forward because you know your mission. It's tied to everything. So motivation versus inspiration. I want to take this time to identify these, because this is also part of your professional success. Motivation, does anybody, difference between motivation and inspiration, right? When we look at motivation might get you moving. Motivation comes from often comes from a place of desperation, right? We have hit a certain bottom. We have gotten to the point where we're like, I can no longer take this. I no longer want to do this. So motivation is so important. Love yourself as much as you love others. Yes, Laura, absolutely. That's what I ask people. I'm like, how many commitments have you broken to other people? And most people, we can break commitments, but it's is it as much as the commitments, or as many as the commitments that you've broken to yourself? right? And so that goes along with like loving yourself as you love others, and really keeping your commitments to yourself as you would keep commitments to others, like, because you're worth it. Like, you're worth it. Your mission is worth it. Your purpose on this planet is worth it to get out there. So going back to motivation gets you moving. It's from a place of desperation. Often it's that kick in the ass that will move us forward, but it's short-lived. It is very short-lived. It's not going to keep us moving. I have been in and out of exercise programs, of dieting programs, of all sorts of different things. And because I was motivated because I didn't want to feel yucky anymore. I didn't want to feel this like weight, or my jeans getting tight, or like my knees hurting and stuff like that. So that's from a place of like desperation. What inspires me to keep going, right, is so different. Inspiration keeps us moving forward. My mission with treating my body the way that I needed to is because I see it as this mechanism, this, vessel that helps me to gain my mission, to get my mission out there, to speak to you guys, to get out there and to, do yoga with you guys, or, take a run with you, whatever it is, or like speak in front of people, right? That's the inspiration. I want to be at my healthiest. I want to be at my best, right? I want to hike with my kids. I want to do so many things. So really looking at like, how am I treating myself? How, and this is just the example of like, eating, nourishing my body and nourishing my soul. So looking at why do I want to do that? Why does that matter? Well, because then I'll be I'll be around hopefully longer. I'll have the energy to continue going out there. Right. So being able to look at motivation gets you moving. Inspiration keeps you moving. Tie it into your mission. Okay. So looking at, what can stop us from being disciplined? We can find all sorts of excuses. Anybody, anybody really good at finding excuses for not doing things that are hard? Hand in the air, right? Put a yes in the comments. We can find reasons, but again, it's keeping that commitment to yourself. And when we think about, not moving forward, or, not allowing ourselves to be, to carry out our life purpose, to carry out that mission, to be at our top. A lot of it is like the fear. Again, it goes back to knowing yourself, right? The first pillar, knowing yourself enough to know what your fears are. Is it fear of rejection, fear of success, fear of failure? There's so many fears that we can have. So what I encourage you to do, I'm like, if you're gonna have, a fear, let it be the fear that you will not live to your fullest potential, right? Let that be your driving force. Not gaining, not getting to that point where you're living to your fullest potential, your fullest capacity, right? And I saw this, kills it, just, it hurts my heart when I think about my dad. He passed away 2 years ago, about 2.5 years ago. And he had so many lives unlived. He was smart. His brain worked in such different ways. He was creative. He was an amazing artist, and he did not allow himself to experience that or express that. He felt stuck, and he did not, he didn't live to his fullest potential. And it just hurts my heart. He got stuck in addiction. He got stuck in the fear. He got stuck in scarcity. He got stuck, my mom was there too. She's like, you can't quit your job. You can't do this. You can't do that, because you have to provide for the family. Right. So there's a lot of stuckness around that. So being able to recognize, right, that let your fear, if you have to be driven, if you need that motivation, let that fear be that you will not live to your fullest potential, that you will not reach your highest capacity, because that just breaks my heart. I don't know if that's motivating for you. So as I had mentioned before, with knowing yourself, something that you can do under this discipline part of pillar is really, like I said, writing a list of the characteristics of who you want to be, who do you want to be at your fullest capacity, your fullest potential? What do you want to do, right? How do you want to engage in the world? How do you want to show up for yourself? How do you want to show up for others? And write down those characteristics and read them, check them out every day and see if you're aligning with them. Am I keeping my commitments to myself? Am I, creating that life of inspiration? Am I, tapping into my creativity? As women, we are highly creative. I mean, look at all we create. We create humans, and so much more. So really looking at, does this woman that you want to be stand up for herself? Does she speak her truth? Does she stand in her values? Does she shake the world, right? Does she ruffle feathers? There's a book, and I can't remember who the author is, this professional troublemaker. And, she's just like, yeah, I want to shake shit up. Like, we are meant to shake things up because things are not working. And we can be troublemakers in the most beautiful way. I can put a link to that as well. So really looking at, who is this person that you see yourself as, right? We don't want to come from here. We actually want to, and we're not shaming ourselves for being here because it took us a lot just to be here, but we want to see where we're going still, right? Because there's always room to expand. Does she show up for herself even when there's doubt and fear? Does she do the things she dreams of doing? Does she step outside her comfort zone, right? Does she do things that feed her soul? And check in to see if you are living in accordance with those characteristics and those values. And if you're not, what do you need to do to get there? So something that I want to quickly mention. So those are the 3 pillars of professional success. I hope I can remember all of the links that I'm going to share with you guys. I might have to go back and rewatch this so I can put the links in as to everything that I talked about. But the 3 pillars of professional success is self-awareness, right? Mission driven, and discipline. Okay, so those are the 3 pillars of professional success. It all starts with knowing yourself, though, making sure that you are creating your mission and your discipline from your authentic self, knowing what your weaknesses and your strengths are, building on your strengths, being aware of your weaknesses, right? Being open to that feedback, right? So those are the 3 pillars of professional success. And something that's really important is to make sure there is joy in your life as you're doing this. And when you are aligned with your purpose, with your mission, there is joy. There might be some things that you're like, don't really love doing this, and I'm going to do it, but there should be more joy in your life than not. So I would love to hear, why don't you guys put in the comments, what's one takeaway, something that you are taking away from this training that you can apply almost immediately. That maybe it's an awareness, maybe it's recognizing that there are some imbalances, that you're not aligned with some of your values. Put it in the comments. Let me know. Let us know. And just so you know, there are answers out there for all of this, right? If you feel like you're not aligned, I have a coaching program, right? We are all in there. There are beautiful, amazing souls who are all in there wanting to create this life, and not only wanting, but actually creating this beautiful life to their fullest potential. And they keep on expanding because they keep showing up for themselves. They keep showing up for each other. I mentioned earlier about the sense of community and how community is so imperative. Again, Rachel Rogers identifies it. It is so imperative to being a successful woman that we have other women out there, because we are not going to be able to do this alone. Way too many female businesses, entrepreneurs, professionals do not make it because they don't have their crew. So finding your support, embracing your support. And if you're not finding it in your community, again, I have a coaching program that is specific. You are in a group. You are in a next level life purpose for female trailblazers. You are in this group of like-minded women. This is why I created it, so we could get the support we need to expand to our wildest dreams, because that is what we're meant to do. So love being with you guys. Absolutely. Same learning, discipline. I know, make space for others, but hardly myself recently. Routine is needed, and support is needed for you to say no, because the people around us don't like when we say no, because we've been saying yes for so long, right? Hey, Marilee, good morning. So good to see you. So that's the other key to having a support network around you, a community around you of women that are cheering you on, saying yes, draw those boundaries, say yes to you, like stop, you are so important. You are imperative in this world, right? We keep on putting others before us. It's not going to work the way it is meant to. So, hey, Kaylee, girl, so good to see you. Yeah, Catherine, say often that I'm not motivated, but really I'm lacking inspiration. Oh my gosh, such an amazing awareness, Catherine. Yes. When we lack that inspiration, it's going to be you're going to be on the struggle bus, right? So anyways, looking at what does inspire you, right? How can you bring inspiration to you? What do you need to change? And how are you going to create the community around you, the community of females specifically around you, to support you and cheer you on when you are doing the hard things, when you are drawing boundaries, when you are saying, no, I'm not going to do this because I'm saying yes to me finally, right? I remember having that conversation, so many conversations with so many people. My husband, who I love, my mother, who I love, it's, they feel hurt because of some of the decisions, right? My mother was so afraid when I was like, I am quitting my corporate job. Yes, I know I'm making six figures. This is not in alignment. And she was so afraid, and she was mad, but it all came from a fear space. So it's not easy to say these things, but that is where, again, I had my crew, I had my community supporting me. I had the help, right? So yes, you are so worth it. You are, I say I'm pro. So worth it. So important. It's so important for you to really align with that and to live out your fullest potential and your big dream. You are so worth it. Your dream is worth it. Your mission is worth it. So 3 pillars of professional success. I will try to remember to put all the links in the comments of everything that I mentioned, and reach out to me if you have any questions, if you want to connect. I love connecting with all the women here. So just sending so much light and love, and move forward with inspiration. So sending so much light and love. Have an amazing weekend, everyone.